Welcome to another edition of the Go Nose Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. One of the things that I think that this coaching staff is going to have to do in order to have a successful 2022 season is manage the roster better. I just think last season it was just a lot of bad personnel decisions, especially on special teams. You couldn't settle in on a punt returner. I mean, just all the special teams as just a unit were not good. The defense was okay, but, like I said, the coaching staff mismanaging the roster. If Darius Washington is not a guard for the opener and just the whole season, in my opinion, it's just like, what are we doing? I feel like both tackle spots are up for grabs. I don't know who you're going to start. You got some bodies now. So I just feel like going into this spring game in 2 weeks, that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm not going to be looking at the bells and whistles. I'm looking at line play on both sides of the ball. And I just want to see how they're going to use Amari Gaynor on defense. Because like I said, I just feel like instead of a coverage linebacker, he's more of a pass rushing linebacker. And I just want to see how they're going to use him. I want to see both tackle spots. I want to see these new receivers that you've got. Especially the big guy. The guy that's like, 6'7", 6'8", or whatever he is from Arizona State. I want to see what he can do. If there ever was a red zone target, he should be the guy. And like I said, I'm bad with names, so excuse me for not knowing these guys' names. Kalen DeLoach is on the verge of stardom. Tatum Bethune. I've never seen this guy play a down. I've watched some stuff from his UCF days, just highlights. And I don't put a lot of stock in highlights. I like to watch a whole actual game. So, but from what I've seen, he's a pretty good player. McClendon, I want to see what McClendon, Fuller. I just want to see what these guys can give you. I just think that Greedy Vance, I got him confused somehow with Greedy Williams. And Greedy Vance is from Louisiana, and I said a few weeks ago he was from LSU. My bad. I know some of y'all that listen to this podcast think I'm just like obnoxious with the names and stuff. I promise you I try to study this roster, but it's just so many names. Cornerback should be a strength this season. I think I just don't see it as a weakness this year. Jared Verse is a big dude, man. And, This roster feels like a 7-5 roster. Okay, I think you have to go at least 7-5 with this roster, at least. I think any reasonable Florida State fan would agree with that. 7-5, it has to be like the minimum goal. I don't think you can realistically set the bar any lower. I think 7-5 is setting the bar too low. But that's last year I was saying 5-7, 6-6, but just because I knew the offensive line wasn't gonna be anything special. I think this year you've got some talent. It just depends on how they arrange the talent on the offensive line. And it's really just the 2 tackle spots. And I say this every week, and I'm going to keep saying it every week. Because I just contend year in and year out, it takes an all-world type of investment. And I just don't think Florida State as a university, Florida State, the boosters, they're not committed to that. They're gonna do what it takes to get one every couple of years, 10 years, and be happy with that. And that's just not how you maintain a great football program. And Florida State is just living off reputation right now. You're not living off of anything that you've done in the last 5 years. You're living off reputation. You're living off a brand name. And that's not how you run a football program. College football today is what have you done lately? And it's what can you do for me right now? And, the quicker that Florida State gets on board with that philosophy, I feel like the quicker we're going to be back to contending for ACC championships, contending for national championships. And, I know some fans don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Okay, you cannot sustain a great football program going into the portal every year. You just can't. Teams like Alabama can go into the portal and get the best. Okay? And it just makes them that much more difficult. Florida State's not getting the best guys out of the portal. Now, you got Jermaine Johnson. You hit a home run with him. And I think if the country realized who Jermaine Johnson was before last season, Florida State wasn't going to get him. So we got lucky. We found gold in a depleted area. So can you hit gold twice in a depleted area? We're gonna find out. Cause you went head over heels in the portal this past season. So this past off season, as far as the recruiting and all of that stuff. So we'll see what happens. I really hate some of the number changes. It's like there's no consistency year to year. These guys change their numbers. I just hate it, but I guess that's just the old man in me. If it's one player that I really want to see, it's this Demore Tate guy. Former 5-star recruit. He's had some issues, health and academic issues since he's gotten there. And I just want to see, has he really put it all together? And I just want to see, can this guy play, man? Offensively, you know what I want to see offensively. Offensive line. I think we got some good skill position guys. I think we got a pretty good quarterback. And just mainly, can the coaches manage this roster? You know, and when I say manage the roster, just, put guys in positions to succeed. That's it. I mean, that's really the coach's job, is to put guys in positions to succeed. Put the right guys out there. And, if they can do that, man, maybe we'll go to a bowl game. And it's gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching to sit here and think in those terms. As a diehard Florida State football fan, it's gut-wrenching. You know what I'm saying? My stomach turning as we speak. Just bowl eligibility, man. Come on. We better than this. We better than this, bro. I'm telling you right now, we better than this. I'm just trying to think, is there like one key player that we could get that could put us over the top? And everybody's going to say quarterback. But I think Jordan Travis, when given time to throw, man, he makes money throws. He's got a hell of an arm. You give him time to throw, I think he could be one hell of a college quarterback. Obviously, the scrambling ability is off the charts. But it's just all about giving him time to throw. Cam McDonald, if you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know how I feel about Cam McDonald. He's not used correctly. They don't give him the ball. I'm not comparing him to George Kittle, but Iowa didn't use George Kittle the right way. You see what happened when George Kittle got to the league. Now, again, I don't think it's going to be that type of, metamorphosis. But I think if Cam McDonald goes to like the Rams or the Packers or the 49ers, offensive coaches that know how to use players, I think he's going to have a great career. So, and then, I've already said Amari Gaynor. I want to see him come off the edge. I don't want to see him play coverage. Kalen DeLoach can do it all, but we don't know if that was just a flash in the pan because of the pass rush we had last season. I want to see him do it back-to-back seasons. Then I think he's going to go pro. Clemson was just so far ahead of everybody, and I think Clemson has come back to the rest of the league. And, they've lost their offensive and defensive coaches, so I think it's going to be they're going to take a further step back to the league this season. Their defensive coordinator, I liked him a lot. I actually wanted him as the Florida State head coach, but I think he knew where he wanted to go the whole time. He wanted to go to a program where they was heavily invested into the program. In Oklahoma, oil money, you really don't get more of an investment into a program than Oklahoma. So Clemson loses him. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. They lose him, and I think they still got a lot of talent on that roster. But I don't think Dabo doesn't call plays. So I still see Clemson winning 10 games, but I don't think that they're going to be on that run from 2015 to 2020. I don't see them going on that run. And that was a hell of a run. That equals pretty much anything that Florida State did within a 5-year span. I don't want to overreact, but, I'm going to say needs improvement across the board. Individually, there was a couple of guys that I liked. I felt Caden Lyles, the center, played okay. The DBs looked okay. Robert Scott did not look good. I mean, I'm keeping it, my evaluation within reason. That is just a spring game. I mean, I'm not treating it like it's the Miami game or something. I know that you can only do so much. You can show so much. But I didn't. It wasn't riveting TV. I watched the spring game before the Florida State game, which was the North Carolina spring game, was more interesting, a little bit more organized. I like Tua Philly. I like what I saw from him. I like Pittman. I like what I saw from him. But no one on the offensive line. And I don't know how they've grouped these guys. They just said, okay, this is the group 1 and group 2. And they've obviously put some starters and backups and mixed it all up together. Because we all know Caden Lyles is going to be the center. So, but I was impressed with what I saw from him. That's it. I like I said, it wasn't riveting TV. I was literally like playing on my phone because it was just like I just didn't. I mean, last year's spring game was more interesting to me than this one. At least they did a little bit more. It was a little bit more organized. So, like I said, I'm not going to say the sky's falling. I'm not going to say the world is coming to an end. It's the spring game. There's a lot of work to be done. I want to see when Julian Armella comes in, where does he fall on this offensive line depth chart. I want to see you got 10 transfers, 13 freshmen, newcomers, whatever you want to call them. And it's just, I guess it's just going to take some time to work the kinks out. So, I don't recall seeing Tatum Bethune out there. He might have played. I don't recall seeing Kalen DeLoach. I'm gonna rewatch it, but like I said, last year I was more engrossed into the spring game than I was this year. The quarterbacks needs improvement. AJ Duffy didn't wow me. Rodemaker didn't wow me. Jordan Travis didn't wow me. And like I said, I'm just keeping everything in perspective and just saying it's a spring game. There's only so much that you can do and only so much that you can show because other teams are going to watch this. And, I understand that. The special team stuff that they was doing. Okay. I think that's more for like practice. I don't think you need to be doing that in the spring game, but I wasn't overly impressed with the kickers. I mean, you had a field goal that was blocked. So, like I said, it's just, that didn't look like a 7-5 football team. That looked like a 4-8 team. Okay, that's what that team looked like today. So I just hope that between now and August 27th, we, just improve tremendously. We got a long way to go, man. You got to build this thing one brick at a time. I understand that. I fully support the coaching staff and the players, but I just felt like things could have been a little bit more crisp. So, I didn't know about the Washington injury, the offensive lineman Darius Washington. I didn't know about his injury. So I hope he gets healthy and comes back 100%. And that's it. Thoughts and prayers go out to Dwayne Haskins, man, 24 years old. Very young man, promising quarterback. I just feel for his dad, his family, and I just hope everything, from an emotion. I can't even imagine losing a kid like that. So I hope and pray that everything works out for them, man. So I appreciate everybody that listens. The podcast is available on YouTube and virtually all podcast platforms. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And as always, go Noles.